In this video, I'm going to share with you what I personally do to stop being a people pleaser. Now, a people pleaser is someone who constantly wants to please or feel accepted or validated by other people, irrespective of the disadvantage that it causes to themselves. For example, let's say that your boss wants you to work overtime this weekend, but you've already made plans. So rather than telling him or her that you've actually made plans this weekend and you can't do overtime, you just simply agree and say yes to people please. Another example is agreeing with someone when you don't truly agree with them, but to keep the peace, to rather have tension, you just simply agree with them. And based off previous experiences, when you haven't agreed with them, then they kind of get upset or they throw a little tantrum or a strop. So to make life easier and more peaceful, you just decide, well, I'm just going to agree with you. In other words, people pleasing. Now, I've tried to please people several times in the past, but each and every time I found that you end up on the worse side of things. You end up losing because all you're trying to do is please them. You're not thinking about yourself. You're not being true to the things that you believe in and your morals. So if you find yourself trying to word things or say things in a particular way to try and not offend or have any conflict with anyone, then that's a clear sign that you're actually engaging in people pleasing. So one of the things that I personally do to stop people pleasing is I set boundaries for myself. If I can't do something, or I don't have the time to do something, or I just don't have an interest in doing something for someone, then rather than lying to them and telling them that, I'll just do it for them, what I practice doing is just letting them know that I can't or I don't want to. I put it in the most kindest way that I can, but I make it known to them that I don't want to do this. However, one thing that I do is I set my boundaries on a per person basis, depending on our relationship and our history together. So if we have a good track record together, what you'll find is I'm going to be a lot more flexible and a lot more willing to go the extra mile because trust has been built. Now, helping people is a good, kind-hearted thing to do. But through experience, what I've learned is that people pleasing and wanting to genuinely help people are two completely different worlds. So don't confuse being kind and nice with the same as being a people pleaser, because they're not. For example, with people pleasing, a person doesn't normally want to engage in conflict with that person and they need constant validation or approval. And it's normally because they have low self-esteem or they just don't have the ability to be able to say no to the person. They've always said yes. So having that courage to be able to say no is scary. But on the flip side, when you genuinely want to help someone, you don't care about validation or approval or being accepted because you're doing it because that's the correct and right and honorable thing to do. So you do it. And if you pay close attention, you'll kind of reveal to yourself if you're doing something just to impress someone or you're doing it because you genuinely want to help this person. So make sure that you are paying attention to that. So the next time when you feel like, hold on a minute, I might be doing this because I'm trying to impress this person, stay with that thought. Don't just try to avoid it and just forget about it because clearly it's bringing it to your consciousness because something's clearly going wrong. Now, before we move on, my name's Luke and this channel is all about personal development and I'll be sharing the things I've learned and continuously learn. So if you enjoy content around trying to improve yourself, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. The second thing I do is I contemplate. So I'll sit down and I'll have a good think about the people who I'm trying to please. I think to myself, is it worth it? Is it worth me trying to please this person? What am I losing out on? Or am I even gaining anything from trying to please this person? Or has it affected me both mentally and physically? Now, the good thing of contemplation or deep thought is it allows you to see things clearly and for what they actually are. Now, when I first done this exercise, it revealed quite a lot about specific people in my life. And as a result, I started to learn and discover that I was spending way too much time and energy trying to please these people. But at the same time, doing this exercise helped me to remove and detach myself from these people. So from my experience, by me contemplating on those people who I think I'm trying to people please in my life, it actually led to me discovering those people who are toxic in my surroundings and those people who are in my circle. So I was able to not only remove them, but now I no longer have to please them. And that's the way you've got to see it. You've got to see it as when these things happen or you're trying to people please, yeah, you can see it as a negative thing, but you'll come out more wiser and more stronger than you were before. With that said, if you ever feel like you're overwhelmed in life, which I do most of the time, and if you find yourself trying to step outside of your comfort zone, or you're trying to do new things or achieve new things, you'll most likely feel overwhelmed because that comfort is very comfortable. And when you step out of it, things get weird and things get a little bit scary. So you're kind of questioning yourself. Am I supposed to feel like this? Is this normal? But it is normal, because feeling overwhelmed clearly means that you're doing things to overwhelm you. And you're doing things to clearly take you outside of your comfort zone. Just think about it. When you're trying to learn something new, or you're trying to, like when you're learning a new skill, it's overwhelming. But as you keep on doing it, it gets easier and easier. The point is, I actually made a video on the topic of what I personally do to stop feeling overwhelmed. So if that's something that you're interested in, then make sure you click here where you're able to watch that video.